Secession. How come the North hasn't called for secession as the South does? And this is an opinion of the writer. After the amalgamation of Nigeria, the colonial masters weren't expecting that by today that what will be a daily discussion is about separation, but on how to achieve greater success. If there's anything or any reason for separation, I would be based on decision made by all for the sake of greater advancement, as in the case of Brexit, where Europe has developed to that measure and Britain decided to be separate for more exploit. The British Empire made Nigeria to be one and has an extension of her territory. Having achieved this, they gave her independence in 1960, but before the adventure of the colonial masters, people were living in their own clans, regions as a nation. After independence, the nation began to soar in greatness until elements of discord crept in. The atmosphere changed to hatred and disharmony among ethnic groups, which led to the infamous Biafran Nigerian War, which began in 1967 and ended in 1970. Thanks be to God who saw Nigeria through that rough time, even though many lives and properties were lost. Nigeria has three major ethnic groups: Igbos, Hausa, Fulanis, Yorubas. In the civil war, it was between Nigeria and one ethnic group, Igbos. At the end, the nation didn't disintegrate and activities as one state continued. After the emergence of civilian rule in 1999, the Biafran agitation group resumed its activities through Chief Ralph Wazurike, who formed an organization called MASOB. Later, another group from the southeast called IPOB commenced their own agitation through their leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. As of today, the Southwest youths have joined the secession campaign. They want to create their own nation called Oduduwa Republic. The North had not shown any interest in separation campaign. They are not supporting any form of breakup. What they are preaching and prefer is united Nigeria. Looking at the stance of the North, one would wonder whether they are true Nigerians or they're benefiting more than the other tribes. The Igbo adage says, where a child is crying, pointing his fingers, it's either the father or the mother is there. What the Southeast Igbos and Yoruba youths were crying, pointing their fingers, should be looked into. Where there's three sons and two are complaining bitterly, it's either they were cheated or their shares were tampered with. Only the North wouldn't be comfortable, and you kept saying all is well. It is not good for a nation that has lived together for decades to be talking about succession on a daily basis. It won't produce any positive impact. It's therefore important for the government in power to take a bold step in checkmating the reasons why the South is declaring for self-determination and why the North is championing for united indivisible nation. The reason could be that the North is more favored, advantaged than the South in terms of sharing formula, appointments, occupation of exalted and political offices, benefits, etc. If this is the reason, equity should be employed in eliminating these issues so that everybody would feel at home. Because if the North should suffer the same fate with the South, they would have done what the South does. Let everyone join hands and build a prosperous nation where everybody is somebody and equal. If this can be achieved, we will be one indivisible, most prosperous, populous black nation in the world. I think one thing I was a bit iffy about was when he says, because if the North should suffer the same fate with the South, they would have done what the South does. And that is not true, because theoretically, they are going through worse, especially when you talk about terrorism that they've been the target for years when it comes to, Nigeria as a whole. And with them, it's just that it's been such a long time. It seems as if they're used to it, like they're used to living in insecurity and all that. And of course, it's a whole different mentality out there. Okay, it's like two different countries in one. Let's not pretend. The North think differently, the South think very differently. We have contrasting views. You know what I mean? in if you think of Nigeria as a whole, this authority kind of thing plays a huge factor in how we relate to each other. But then in the north, it's a whole other level and it's more intense. And religion, family relations, that authority there is used in a way to sort of groom children or groom the people from young, not to protest, not to seem like the problem, to in order to not be seen as the problematic one. It still happens in the south, but if the south was going through so much insecurity in terms of Boko Haram, disturbance for more than 10 years, I am so what? Look at the Sasa market crisis. Look at NSAS. It got that bad that there's a whole new protest. It became a whole world, the whole world was watching Nigeria. So then, not trying to trivialize what happened in the south, but the south is definitely more proactive to, to cut issues from the beginning point rather than, unlike the north. So again, it's like not to trivialize what is going on in the south, with NSAS and all that, but it is not really as worse as what is going on in the north. There's kidnappings every single day. People are being killed. Terrorist attacks. Different factions of terrorist groups that are building their bases in there. And to think that there is excessive military presence in the southeast, which is just absurd. You know what I mean? So the point is, north and south of Nigeria think very differently. And if the north was going through what the south was going through, I still think they would be calm and there'll be no protest, because with the mentality and the way they think, that's not the way they seek to address issues like this. Just saying. The creation of Nigeria by colonizers won't be seen as a mistake, but the mistake would be the inability to manage our God-given blessings by turning it into battleground through nepotism, segregation, ethnic bigotry, religious fanaticism, which may be the reason for what is happening now in Nigeria. Example, that we can do better together is found in our patriotic sports spirit, where everyone contributes and partakes, which always brings joy, productivity, and good results. Okay, the first half was going nice, and then towards the end of this article, I mean, this is not the end, I've read everything, but towards the end, it's just, what? The creation of Nigeria by colonial masters won't be seen as a mistake. What? It's definitely fine. It's definitely not something that is most favorable. It has happened, okay? But it doesn't still mean that we cannot steer Nigeria in another direction where we can now change the fate, and we can change the outlook, and then we can change what Nigeria can become. That depends on us, absolutely. But then the creation of Nigeria by colonial master was definitely not a mistake. It was definitely deliberate. It was definitely on the grounds of corruption, terrorism, theft. What can I say? Manipulation, violation of human rights, killings. Listen, the creation of Nigeria is no way ever justified. Absolutely not. No. And what are you gonna say? Colonialism wasn't a mistake. It was definitely done on purpose. So again, that is fine. It's now we've gotten independence in some ways. Let's not pretend like as if we're fully independent. It depends on us and how we're gonna change and drive Nigeria to where we want it to be. So what it is, put what I think, and put what I think, and don't forget to like and subscribe.